The hum of machinery was the only sound in Dock Bay 47, far out on the lonely edge of the galaxy. Eli Moran, a human mechanic, wiped the grease from his hands and leaned back in his chair. He had been working for 12 hours straight on a cargo hauler that refused to start. The small maintenance bay smelled of oil, metal, and burnt coolant smells that meant home to him. Eli liked quiet nights. Out here on Vorn's Reach, a forgotten station orbiting a cold red planet, quiet meant safety. Most days were dull and calm, and that suited him fine. He wasn't a soldier or a pilot. He was just a man with a wrench who knew how to make broken things work again. The silence was broken by a deep rumble from the sky above. Eli looked up through the hangar's energy shield. A ship small, sleek, and glowing faintly was spiraling down toward the landing field. He frowned. "That's not a cargo ship," he muttered. "Too fancy for this dump." The ship came into fast. Its engines flickered, then exploded in a burst of blue fire. Eli grabbed his toolkit and ran toward the landing pad as the vessel smashed into the ground. Sparks and debris scattered across the bay. When the smoke cleared, he saw that the ship was still mostly intact, expensive design. Smooth silver hull, markings he didn't recognize. It definitely wasn't from any trader fleet he knew. "Anyone alive in there?" Eli shouted, climbing over a fallen support beam. The airlock hissed, and the door opened halfway before jamming. A figure stepped through tall, wrapped in a silver cloak, face hidden by a hood. The person swayed on their feet, clearly dizzy from the crash. "Ho, easy there," Eli said, rushing forward. "You took a rough landing. Are you hurt?" The stranger looked up. Through the damaged translator hanging around her neck, a soft voice answered, "No, only shaken. My craft malfunctioned." "You are Pengineer?" "Mechanic," Eli corrected with a grin. "But close enough." He offered a hand to steady her, but she didn't take it. Her posture was too graceful, too deliberate. She looked around the dusty bay as if she had never seen a place so ordinary. "Welcome to Vorn's Reach," Eli said, half laughing. "Not much to look at, but it's quiet. You're lucky you didn't explode up there." The stranger studied him silently for a moment. Then she said, "Your tone is casual." Eli shrugged. "Yeah, well, panic doesn't fix engines." He bent down to inspect her ship. The hull plating was melted along one side, and the power cells were unstable. "Looks like your stabilizer coil blew. I can fix it, but it'll take a few hours. You can wait in the bay if you want." She tilted her head. "You would repair this without payment first?" Eli looked up, confused. "Of course. You're stranded. It's the right thing to do." The woman's hood shifted, and for a brief moment, he saw her face, smooth silver blue skin, bright golden eyes that seemed to glow faintly. Definitely not human. Still, there was a calm kindness in her expression. "Thank you, human," she said softly. Eli smiled. "No problem, miss. What's your name?" She hesitated. "Yalara," she said at last. "I am called Yalara." "Well, Yalara, I'm Eli Moran, local grease monkey at your service." He held out his hand again, but then remembered most aliens didn't like physical contact. So, he changed the gesture to something more casual, a fist bump. Yalara blinked at the offered fist, clearly puzzled. "This is but human custom?" "Yeah," Eli said with a grin. "It's called a fist bump. Friendly greeting. No germs, no weirdness, just hey, nice to meet you." She looked at his hand for a long moment. The bay lights reflected off her cloak as she slowly copied the motion, gently pressing her fist against his. Eli laughed. "See? Not so hard." But the moment he pulled back, he noticed her expression change. She looked startled, almost fearful. Her golden eyes widened slightly. You okay?" Eli asked. Yalara lowered her hand slowly. "This gesture," she said quietly, "is not small thing. Among my people. Sorry if I messed up. I didn't mean anything strange by it." She shook her head quickly. "No, you did nothing wrong. It is accepted." Still confused, Eli decided not to push it. He went back to the ship and started repairs. The engines were a nightmare, high-end alien tech with parts he'd never seen before. But he was patient. Machines, no matter how advanced, always followed the same logic. Energy went in, power came out, and something always broke in between as he worked. Yollara wandered around the hangar. She touched the walls curiously, as if studying the rough metal panels. Everything here was simple and worn, built by human hands, far from the glittering perfection of her world. She watched Eli move focused, confident, humming a tune while he worked. His tools were old, his cover all stained, yet he treated every bolt and wire with respect. "Your people build much with hands," she said quietly after a while. Eli nodded without looking up. "That's right. We don't have fancy repair drones like most folks out here. Guess we still like doing things the hard way. And you do not fear mistakes?" He chuckled. "Fear? Sure. But if something breaks, you fix it. That's the job." Yollara smiled faintly beneath her hood. Strange, yet admirable. Hours passed as Eli worked. Finally, he tightened the last bolt and stepped back. There, should be flight ready now. Yollara walked up beside him, gazing at her restored ship. "You fixed this faster than I expected. I owe you gratitude." "Just doing my job," Eli said, wiping his hands again. "You should run a diagnostic before you go, though. That stabilizer might still be a little touchy." She nodded, but didn't move. Instead, she looked at him thoughtfully, as if seeing something he couldn't. "Tell me, Eli Moran." She said, "Do you know who I am?" Eli laughed lightly. "I mean, you told me your name's Yollara. Beyond that, not really." She studied him in silence for a moment, then said, "Perhaps." "That is best," before Eli could ask what she meant. The sound of heavy footsteps echoed from the bay entrance. 3 station officers hurried in, panting, eyes wide. The lead officer saluted clumsily. "Sir, Doc's sensors just picked up royal transponders. There's an incoming fleet, multiple warships in orbit." Eli blinked. "Warships? Here? That can't be right. Vorn's Reach is a junkyard." Yolara's gaze grew distant. "They have found me," she whispered. "What?" Eli asked, frowning. "Who's found you?" She turned to him, her hood falling back slightly, revealing the crest-shaped mark on her forehead. It shimmered like liquid gold. Even the officers froze when they saw it. One of them gasped. "That symbol by the stars, that's the mark of the Galactic crown." Eli looked between them, still lost. "Wait, the what now?" The officer dropped to one knee instantly. "Your Majesty." Ellie's jaw dropped. "Your what?" Queen Yollara of the Veiled Dominion, ruler of 1,000 worlds, looked back at him with a calm smile. Her golden eyes glowed softly as she said, "Do not kneel, for I am already bound to this human." Eli blinked, completely confused. "Bound? What are you talking about?" She lifted her hand, the one that had touched his moments ago. "You offered me your fist in friendship," she said. "Among my kind, that gesture seals an alliance of honor and trust. You have become my bonded ally." Eli stared at her, wrench still in hand, brain completely blank. He finally managed to mutter, "You've got to be kidding me." Yolara's expression remained serene. "I never jest, Eli Moran. The stars themselves shall witness this bond." As the officers stared in stunned silence, the station lights flickered, signaling the arrival of the approaching royal fleet. Eli exhaled slowly. "Well, guess my quiet night's over." The calm of Dock Bay 47 had vanished. Eli Moran stood frozen, staring at Queen Yollara as the station's alarms blared. Red lights reflected across the walls, casting long shadows over crates and tools. The bay, once quiet, now felt like a battlefield waiting to erupt outside. The orbital sensors were alive with activity, a fleet unlike anything the small station had ever seen move through space. Sleek warships glinting with alien metals, their engines humming in unison. They bore the mark of the Galactic Crown Empire, a symbol of authority that spanned thousands of star systems. That's a lot of firepower for a single person," Eli muttered, gripping the edge of a workbench. Yolara's expression remained calm, almost serene. "They have come for me," she said softly. "But you are already part of this now." Ellie's brain spun. "Part of this? What do you mean? I didn't even sign up for interstellar politics. I just fixed your ship." She smiled faintly. "Your gesture was pure, human. In my culture, it binds us." My people now see you as my ally, my trusted one, and that means they will watch you closely. The station officers bowed deeply to her, muttering words Eli did not understand. Eli rubbed his forehead. Great, so I'm suddenly royalty adjacent? Awesome. One of the officers, a tall alien with blue-scaled skin, stepped forward. Your Majesty, what are your orders? Yullara glanced at Eli. Stay close to me. He is my bonded ally, she said, gesturing toward him. This human may assist me in ways only he can. The officer blinked, clearly confused. Assist? In what way? Eli waved his hands helplessly. Look, I can fix machines, okay? That's about it. I'm not a soldier, I'm not a diplomat, and I certainly don't know how to handle a fleet of warships. Yulara's golden eyes met his. Sometimes, the simplest skills are the most important. Before Eli could respond, a deep rumble shook the station. The fleet had moved into position above the planet. Massive shadows fell over the station as alien warships hovered in orbit, scanning every corner. The station commander, a short, nervous alien, ran toward Eli. Sir, we must evacuate all non-essential personnel. Eli blinked. Evacuate? Wait, I'm essential, right? Because apparently I'm bonded or whatever. The commander stared at him. Yes, your bonded status makes you critical. But before he could finish, an explosion rocked the outer docking bay. Debris flew, and the station shook violently. Eli grabbed a nearby pipe for support, his heart pounding. Looks like they're testing our defenses. Eli muttered. He glanced at Yullara. I take it that's not good. She nodded. Not good at all. Someone aboard the station seeks to capture or harm me. But we will not fail. Eli swallowed hard. Well, I guess I better figure out how to survive this galaxy-sized mess, huh? Yullara stepped closer, her calm presence oddly reassuring. You will not be alone. And your creativity, your courage. Humans often succeed where the mighty fail. Eli scratched his head. Courage, huh? I usually just fix things and hope they don't explode. The Queen laughed softly. A sound like chimes in the wind. You will learn, human. And perhaps the galaxy will learn from you as well. Suddenly, the station's main communication panel crackled to life. A booming voice filled the bay, loud and commanding. Queen Yullara, surrender immediately. All resistance will be punished. Your human ally is irrelevant. Eli flinched. Well, that's rude. Yulara's eyes narrowed, but she did not panic. They underestimate us, she said simply. That is their mistake. Eli peered at her. Underestimate me? I've barely fixed one ship in my life. Why would anyone? Yullara placed a hand on his shoulder. Because they do not understand humans. They see only smallness, only simplicity. Yet you carry determination, resourcefulness, the kind of heart that cannot be measured by size or strength. Eli felt a strange warmth at her words. He had never thought of himself as anything extraordinary, just a mechanic. But here, in the shadow of a galactic fleet, someone believed he could matter. The station alarms blared again, louder this time. Red lights flickered as the fleet in orbit began descending. Dock Bay 47 shook under the sheer gravitational influence of the ships. All right, Eli muttered, gripping a metal beam. Guess I'm doing this. Yullara nodded. You are ready. Trust in yourself. For the next hour, chaos reigned. Eli helped the station's engineers reinforce the outer shields. He rigged makeshift energy conduits and repaired damaged docking clamps, moving through the chaos with a surprising calm. Aliens who had mocked him earlier watched in awe as he worked, solving problems with tools they barely recognized. By the time the first boarding ships attempted to land, the station was stabilized. Explosions rocked the outer hull, but no breach occurred. Eli ducked behind a control console, heart pounding, and peeked out. Yullara stood near him, calm as ever, observing the approaching ships. They expected fear. She said quietly, They did not expect your ingenuity. Eli wiped sweat from his forehead. I'm still scared, he admitted. I just fix things fast. Yullara smiled. And that is why you succeed where others fail. Human creativity thrives in the impossible. The boarding ships hovered, scanning for access points. Eli studied their landing mechanisms and pointed out weak spots to the station's engineers. Within minutes, the first wave of attackers was stalled, unable to penetrate the reinforced docking bay. For the first time, Eli realized the truth of Yalara's words. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't trained for war. But he was a human, and humans had a way of seeing solutions others could not. The Queen turned to him. "Do you understand now? Your presence changes everything." Eli shook his head, but a small grin appeared. "Yeah, I think I'm starting to get it." As the fleet hovered menacingly above the station, the humans and aliens inside worked together under Ellie's guidance. Tools clattered, consoles beeped, and sparks flew. Every repair, every adjustment gave them a fighting chance. Finally, the fleet withdrew slightly, as if recognizing the unexpected resistance. Yulara's calm gaze met Ellie's. "You have proven yourself," she said softly. "But this is only the beginning. The galaxy will notice a human who fights not with weapons, but with skill and determination." Eli leaned against the console, exhausted but exhilarated. "Well, guess my quiet life just got a little louder." Yulara's golden eyes glimmered. "And brighter, human. Brighter than you can imagine." As the station settled into a tense calm, Eli realized something. He had stepped into a world far bigger than anything he had known. But for the first time, he felt ready. The ripple of a simple fist bump had changed everything. The shuttle from Dock Bay 47 glided through space, leaving the battered station behind. Eli Moran sat in the passenger seat, gripping the armrests, his eyes wide. Around him, the interior of the ship gleamed with smooth metallic walls and soft golden lights. It was nothing like his dusty, cramped workshop back on Vorn's Reach. Queen Yalara sat opposite him, serene and poised, her golden eyes scanning the view screen. She did not speak for several minutes, letting Eli adjust to the silence. Finally, he muttered, "So, this is your palace." She tilted her head slightly, a faint smile on her lips. "It is my royal vessel, and soon you will see the court. You must understand, Eli Moran. This will not be easy for you." Eli laughed nervously. "Easy? I fix broken engines for a living. Easy isn't really in my vocabulary. Complicated? Sure. Stressful? Definitely. But easy? Not so much." Yulara's laughter was soft, musical. "Good. You will need your courage, your persistence, and your creativity. These are the tools of a human." Eli blinked at her. "Tools? I already have enough of those." "Not those tools," Yulara said, her eyes gleaming. "The ones in your mind, in your hands, and in your heart. They will matter more here than any weapon." He leaned back, letting out a long sigh. "I really hope no one expects me to bow or something. I'm terrible at that." Yulara's smile widened. "You will learn what is expected. But remember, a human's honesty and straightforwardness often impress even the most rigid nobles." The shuttle slowed as it approached a massive space station, orbiting a vibrant green planet. Towers rose from the docking platforms like silver spires, and ships of all sizes glided past in an organized, graceful dance. Ellie's jaw dropped. "Wow, that's huge," he said. "I've never seen anything like it." Yulara's eyes followed the approaching docking bay. "The Veiled Dominion is grand, but it is more than appearances. The court is filled with ancient traditions, and many have grown blind to the value of simple wisdom. That is why your presence is unusual." Eli rubbed his neck nervously. "Unusual? Huh. I guess I'm good at that." The shuttle docked, and the doors opened with a soft hiss. Station officers dressed in flowing uniforms that shimmered with soft light bowed deeply. As the Queen stepped out, Eli hesitated, unsure of what to do. He had never been in a palace or anywhere resembling royalty. "Step forward," Yulara said gently. "You will be introduced as my bonded ally." Eli swallowed and stepped forward. His work boots scuffed softly against the polished floor. The nobles in the room all turned to look at him, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. Some whispered to each other in low, melodic voices. An elderly noble with a long silver beard stepped forward, his eyes narrowing. "Your Majesty, who is this human? What claim does he have to stand here?" Yulara raised her hand. He is my bonded ally. Through an ancient gesture, he has shown loyalty and trust. This is not a position of birthright, but of honor and courage. The noble's eyes widened. A mechanic. Standing in the court, Eli cleared his throat nervously. Hi, I'm Eli. I fix things. That's pretty much it. I promise I won't break anything important. Some of the nobles laughed quietly, while others merely frowned. Eli felt the weight of their eyes on him. He wasn't just a stranger here, he was a human in a world that had little respect for humans. Yullara placed a hand on his shoulder. Do not be afraid, Eli. Many here underestimate you. That is their mistake. A young noble with sharp, blue-tinted skin stepped forward. If this human is truly your ally, your majesty, then perhaps he should prove his worth. A test of skill. A challenge. Eli swallowed hard. Test? Challenge? I didn't sign up for. Gladiator stuff or anything. Yullara smiled. Not a fight of strength. A test of ingenuity. A problem in need of a solution. That is your strength. The nobles murmured among themselves as Yullara led Eli to a massive chamber filled with broken devices, collapsed platforms, and flickering lights. Ellie's eyes widened. This is a mechanical challenge? He asked. Yullara nodded. A series of failing systems in our communication network. If you can restore them quickly and efficiently, you will gain the respect of the court. Eli took a deep breath and knelt beside the first console. He examined the wiring, the circuits, and the small alien devices. At first, it seemed impossible. The technology was unlike anything he had seen. Yet he quickly realized that the principles were similar. Energy flowed, circuits connected, and logic dictated results. Hours passed as Eli worked, bending metal, connecting wires, and rerouting energy through the damaged systems. The nobles watched silently, some leaning forward in curiosity. Eli wiped sweat from his brow, muttering to himself, Come on, work. Slowly, lights flickered on. Hums of energy stabilized. Screens began displaying clear signals. One by one, the communication channels were restored. A hush fell over the chamber. Even the skeptical nobles stared in astonishment. Eli, exhausted, leaned back and smiled sheepishly. Fixed it. Hopefully I didn't break anything else. Yulara's golden eyes gleamed. You see, Eli, even here, where the mighty rule by birth and tradition, a human's skill and determination shine brighter than arrogance or pride. The elderly noble stepped forward, bowing his head. Human, your work is remarkable. You have saved us from serious failure. Perhaps the legends of humanity's ingenuity are true. Eli scratched his head. Legends? I'm just a guy with a wrench. Yullara placed a hand over his. A human's worth is measured not by the world they are born into, but by the actions they take. Today, you have proven your worth. Whispers of admiration spread through the court. Nobles who had doubted him now approached with nods of respect. Eli felt a strange sense of pride. He had never imagined being admired for simply being himself, and yet, here he was, a human mechanic in a galaxy of elites, earning genuine respect. Suddenly, the doors to the chamber opened. A royal messenger rushed in, breathless. Your Majesty, there is trouble in the lower docking bays. A rogue faction attempts to board the fleet. Eli groaned. Of course. Can't we have one peaceful moment? Yullara placed a hand on his shoulder again. Your ingenuity will be needed once more, human. But now, you have allies. The court recognizes your skill. You are not alone. Eli nodded. Allies right. Okay, let's do this. The court rallied behind him as Yullara led the way. Engineers, nobles, and humans alike worked together under Ellie's guidance. Improvised tools were used to repair damaged gates, override failing security locks, and stabilize energy barriers. Eli felt alive in a way he never had before. He wasn't just fixing machines, he was solving problems that affected the lives of thousands. Each decision mattered. Each repair made a difference. Finally, the rogue faction was stalled. Their ships retreated, unable to penetrate the reinforced defenses. Eli leaned against the console, exhausted but exhilarated. Yullara approached him, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. You see, Eli, courage, skill. and determination are recognized everywhere, even in a court that values tradition above all else. Eli smiled faintly. I guess humans really are full of surprises. Yalara's golden eyes met his. Indeed, Eli, and the galaxy has yet to see all that you are capable of. As the court returned to order and the nobles discussed the events in hushed, respectful tones, Eli realized something important. He was far from home, in a world he had never imagined. Yet, for the first time, he felt that he truly belonged, not because of birthright, or power, or wealth, but because of who he was and what he could do. And in that moment, Eli Moran, the human mechanic, understood that sometimes being yourself was the greatest strength of all. The grand halls of the Veiled Dominion were quiet now, but the peace was fragile. Eli Moran, still dusted with grease and grime from his work in the court, walked beside Queen Yalara, who moved with the grace of someone who had ruled countless worlds. Despite the calm, Eli sensed tension in the air. Something was not right. Your Majesty, Eli began hesitantly. I know I'm supposed to be learning about court stuff, but, why does it feel like everyone's hiding something? Yalara's golden eyes scanned the hall. Your instincts are correct, Eli. All is not as it seems. There are shadows even here, among those who swear loyalty. Some see the throne not as a duty, but as a prize. Eli swallowed hard. Sodaku? Yalara nodded slowly. Perhaps, and if so, it will not be fought with weapons alone. Strategy, deception, and the smallest flaws can decide the outcome. Eli felt a chill. He had fought rogue drones and fixed broken engines under pressure. But politics and betrayal were a different kind of challenge. Still, he trusted Yalara. Somehow, he knew she would guide him through. All right, he said, straightening up. If there's a problem, I'll help. But what can a human mechanic do in the middle of a royal conspiracy? Yalara smiled faintly. More than you realize. Sometimes, understanding how things work is the key to seeing what others overlook. Your mind, Eli, is your greatest weapon. Their conversation was interrupted by the sudden blare of alarms throughout the palace. The security gates hissed and locked automatically. Ellie's heart skipped a beat. Intruders? He asked. Yalara's expression remained calm. Not yet, but there is disturbance within the palace. Someone has tampered with the fleet systems. Ellie's eyes widened. Tampered as in sabotage? She nodded. Yes, it is subtle, clever, and dangerous. If the fleet is compromised, countless lives are at risk. And the culprit is one who acts as only the highest officials possess. Eli swallowed. So, one of your own generals? Yalara's gaze was steady. Perhaps, or someone in their confidence. Either way, it will not be easy to uncover. Ellie's mind raced. He was used to solving mechanical problems, not tracking traitors in a royal court. But he knew one thing: if Yalara trusted him, he had to try. He moved to the control room, examining the network of consoles and panels that managed the fleet's systems. His fingers flew over the controls as he studied energy readings, power fluctuations, and unusual signals. This is crazy, he muttered. Every circuit is fine, but there's a hidden pattern. Someone's trying to redirect energy without triggering alarms. Yalara leaned over his shoulder. Notice the subtle changes. Follow the flow. Ellie's eyes narrowed. He traced the energy conduits, noting irregularities in the distribution. His mind worked like a machine itself, connecting dots, predicting outcomes. Slowly, a name appeared in the logs: a trusted general responsible for fleet coordination. Gotcha. Eli whispered under his breath. This guy thinks he's clever, but he's sloppy. Yalara's eyes glimmered. Excellent observation. You have found the first clue. Eli felt a surge of confidence. For the first time, he realized that his human perspective, the simplicity, practicality, and attention to detail gave him an advantage in a world filled with tradition, pride, and arrogance. The next step was risky. Eli needed proof without alerting the traitor. He crept through the palace corridors, following the hidden conduits, and arrived at the general's private workshop. Inside, the lights flickered, and complex alien machinery hummed with barely contained energy. Ellie's heart raced. All right, just like fixing a shuttle engine only. More dangerous, he began tracing wires and connections, careful to leave no trace of his presence. He discovered a small device attached to the main energy panel, a subtle manipulator that could redirect power to disable key fleet systems. "This is it," he whispered. "This guy is planning to sabotage the fleet." During battle, suddenly, footsteps approached. Eli ducked behind a console, holding his breath. The general entered, muttering orders to unseen subordinates. Eli watched as the traitor manipulated the devices, unaware that someone was observing. He had to act fast. Using a combination of his human ingenuity and quick thinking, Eli rigged a failsafe device to reverse the sabotage without alerting the general. Tiny sparks flew, and he held his breath as the energy stabilized. The general paused. Sensing something was off, Eli froze. His heart pounded, but the device worked flawlessly. The sabotage was neutralized, and the general remained unaware. "Phew," Eli whispered. "That was close." Ylara appeared at the doorway, her presence calm and commanding. "Well done, Eli. You have acted swiftly, decisively, and without hesitation. This is why humans are underestimated by many and why they succeed where others fail." Eli rubbed the back of his neck. "I just did what I had to. I mean, anyone with a brain and a set of tools could, perhaps," Ylara interrupted softly. "But not anyone acts with courage, calm, and determination under pressure. You do, Eli, and that makes you extraordinary." Eli felt a warm pride welling up inside him. He had never thought of himself as extraordinary, just a mechanic. But here, he had changed the course of events in a way no one else could. Suddenly, the alarms blared again, louder this time. Multiple access points in the lower docking bays were being compromised. Eli grabbed his toolkit, determination flashing in his eyes. "Looks like they're testing me again," he muttered. "Let's fix it fast." He dashed to the docking bay control center, analyzing the incoming threats. Rogue boarding crafts attempted to breach security gates, but Ellie's quick thinking allowed him to reroute power, lock doors, and stabilize shields. Engineers and security officers worked alongside him, following his instructions. Ellie's mind moved like lightning. Every adjustment, every repair, prevented disaster. By the time the rogue ships were stalled, he was covered in sweat, exhausted, but exhilarated. Ylara approached him, her golden eyes filled with quiet admiration. "You see, Eli, skill and courage often outweigh force and power. The galaxy is filled with those who rely solely on strength. Humans, with their creativity, can tip the scales." Eli smiled, panting. "Yeah, I guess humans do have a few tricks up their sleeves." The palace fell into a tense calm. Eli leaned against a console, letting the adrenaline fade. Nobles and officers whispered among themselves, clearly impressed by the human who had saved them without wielding a weapon. Ylara placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have done more than restore systems, Eli. You have proven that loyalty, ingenuity, and courage can protect many lives. Even the greatest of our people now see the value of a human." Eli shook his head, laughing softly. "All I did was follow the wires and think a little. If anything, I just got lucky. Luck favors the prepared," Ylara said. "And your preparation, human, is remarkable." As night fell over the space station, Eli gazed out at the stars. He realized that the shadow behind the throne was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more betrayals, and more tests of skill and courage. But for the first time, he felt ready. "I've got a feeling this isn't the last time I'll be fixing someone else's mess," he muttered to himself. Yulara's voice echoed softly in the control room. "And each time, Eli, you will show the galaxy that humans, small and underestimated, are capable of greatness." Eli looked at her, a sense of pride swelling in his chest. He had entered the court as a simple mechanic, yet he had earned respect through skill, courage, and determination. And he knew that whatever challenges awaited, he would face them because that was what humans did best. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the windows. Somewhere out there, the galaxy waited, and Eli Moran, the human mechanic, was ready to make his mark.
The grand hall of the Veiled Dominion gleamed with polished silver walls, soft golden lights and intricate designs that told stories of 1,000 worlds. Nobles, advisors, and officers moved carefully around the room, their conversations hushed, their eyes often glancing at Eli Moran. For the first time in days, Eli felt the weight of attention, not just from the court but from the galaxy itself. He had entered this world as a simple human mechanic covered in grease and grime, but now, he stood recognized as a true ally of Queen Yalara. Yet, despite the applause, the praise, and the admiration, Eli felt a familiar nervousness. He had never sought glory. He had never asked to be in the middle of royal politics or interstellar crises. All he wanted was to fix things, solve problems, and return to his quiet life on Vorn's Reach. Eli, Yalara's calm voice broke through his thoughts. She approached him, her golden eyes steady and warm. The council has gathered. They wish to honor your contributions as well as reaffirm your bond with me. Eli blinked. Honor me? Seriously? I just did my job. Yalara smiled faintly. Your job has saved countless lives, human, and it has proven something the galaxy has long ignored. Humans, though underestimated, are capable of extraordinary deeds. Eli exhaled slowly, rubbing the back of his neck. Well, I guess it's kind of nice to be appreciated for a change. The hall doors opened and a procession of nobles entered, their robes flowing like liquid silk. Behind them followed ambassadors from countless worlds, each representing their own fleets, cultures, and planets. All eyes were on Yalara, and now on Eli. The eldest noble of the council, a tall figure with silver hair and piercing blue eyes, stepped forward. He bowed deeply. Your Majesty, and to you, human ally, we witness the courage, ingenuity, and skill that have preserved the Veiled Dominion. Your deeds shall be remembered across the stars. Eli's stomach tightened. He wasn't used to speeches or ceremonies. He shifted uncomfortably, glancing at Yalara for reassurance. She simply nodded. You see, Eli, she whispered, this is the result of honesty, loyalty, and simple courage. You have shown that greatness is not measured by birth or wealth, but by action. Eli swallowed, feeling both proud and overwhelmed. I just did what anyone would do if they could. I didn't think it mattered. Yalara placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. It mattered. More than you can imagine. The council applauded and whispers of respect filled the hall. Eli realized that his presence, the human who fixed machines and solved problems, had changed perceptions. Humans were often seen as fragile, insignificant, or simple. Yet here, in the presence of galactic royalty and thousands of influential figures, a human had proven invaluable. The Queen raised her hand, signaling the start of the formal recognition. She addressed the council with authority. Let it be known across all the stars that Eli Moran, human mechanic, is my bonded ally. His courage, skill, and wisdom have saved lives and fleets alike. Today we honor him not because of his origin, but because of his deeds. The hall erupted in applause once more. Eli looked around in disbelief. All these beings, some of whom he had feared, were now acknowledging him with respect. Then came the moment Yalara had promised, the gesture that would seal the recognition. She stepped closer to Eli, her eyes locking with his. You have shown what it means to be human, she said. To act with courage, creativity, and honor, and now, you shall leave a mark that will not be forgotten. Eli's heart pounded. I'm honored and all, but I'm not sure what you mean by leave a mark. Yalara's lips curved into a gentle smile. She extended her hand. Not a formal bow, not a complicated royal gesture. She offered him a simple human gesture, the same gesture that had started this journey. A fist bump. Eli's eyes widened. The hall went silent, thousands of eyes upon them, and yet nothing was pompous, nothing was ceremonial. It was simple, honest, and human. With a grin, Eli raised his hand and met hers. Fist to fist, for a moment time seemed to stand still. The council, the nobles, the ambassadors, all watched in awe. It was a simple act, yet it spoke volumes. It was trust, loyalty, respect, and equality, wrapped into one small human gesture. The room erupted in applause. Some of the council bowed again. Others whispered in astonishment. Even the ambassadors from distant worlds looked on, impressed by the quiet power of simplicity. Eli laughed softly, feeling a warm glow in his chest. Well, I guess some humans do leave marks, huh? Yalara's eyes sparkled. Indeed, Eli. And the galaxy has learned a lesson today. Simple courage and action can change empires. even more than grand armies or powerful fleets. The council and the nobles approached to offer their congratulations. Eli, still slightly bewildered, accepted nods, handshakes, and polite words of admiration. Everywhere he looked, respect replaced doubt. A young officer, barely out of training, whispered, "I never thought a human could do so much." Eli smiled at him. "Believe it. Humans aren't just good at fixing engines. We fix problems, sometimes bigger than ourselves." Yalara walked beside him, her presence steady and calm. "And you have shown that, Eli. Humanity is underestimated far too often. But your actions have reminded all of us that courage, determination, and intelligence are universal powers." Eli's eyes wandered to the great windows overlooking space. Ships of the Veiled Dominion gleamed in orbit, their engines reflecting distant starlight. Somewhere, across countless worlds, people would hear the tale of a human mechanic who had changed the course of events through ingenuity and courage. He realized, in that moment, that his quiet life back on Vorn's Reach had prepared him perfectly. Patience, observation, persistence, and a refusal to give up. These were traits that mattered more than status or weapons. "Your Majesty," Eli said softly, turning to Yalara, "thank you. Not for the ceremony or the praise, but for believing a human could do something important." Yalara's golden eyes softened. "It was never about belief, Eli. It was always about truth. You have shown the galaxy your truth. Humans act with honor and courage when it is needed most." Eli chuckled. "Well, I guess we humans are full of surprises." Yalara smiled, lifting her hand in a gentle gesture. "Indeed, Eli. And may that hand, your fist, always be a symbol of trust, courage, and human ingenuity." He returned the gesture, and the room fell into respectful silence. Even the noblest and most powerful beings present seemed to understand the meaning of this simple act. A human mechanic, who had once been a stranger in a vast and complex galaxy, had now become a symbol, a reminder that actions, not origin, define true greatness. For Eli, it was the culmination of a journey he had never expected. He had started as a simple mechanic fixing a damaged ship, unaware that a casual fist bump would bind him to a queen in a galaxy full of mysteries. But now, he had seen firsthand what humanity could achieve. Courage, creativity, loyalty, and determination could outshine even the most rigid traditions and the most powerful fleets. The applause resumed, echoing through the great hall. Eli felt a mix of pride and humility. He had not sought glory. He had only done what he thought was right. And in doing so, he had reminded the galaxy that humans, small and underestimated, could indeed make a difference. Yalara leaned close and whispered, "The galaxy will remember this day, Eli, and so will I." Eli smiled, gripping her hand lightly in a final fist bump. "I'll never forget it either. Not the Queen, not the court, and not this crazy, amazing galaxy." As the hall settled into celebration, Eli realized something important. Adventure, danger, and challenge were still out there waiting. But now he knew he could face them, not because he was powerful, or rich or royal, but because he was human, and humans had a way of surprising the universe. The stars outside the windows shimmered endlessly, and for the first time Eli Moran felt at home among them. And somewhere in that endless galaxy, across countless worlds and fleets, the story of the human mechanic who casually fist-bumped a queen and changed the course of empires was already beginning to spread. Because sometimes, the smallest gesture can leave the largest mark.